At this time, I'd like to introduce the Southfield Police Honor Guard for the presentation of colors. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Southfield Police Department, we welcome you to our Southfield Police Promotions and Swearing Ceremony. Thank you, family and friends, for joining us on such a grand occasion. Please, now welcome to start our ceremony, Police Chief Elvin Barron.
So thank you everyone for being here. We're going to start off recognizing our great country with the singing of the national anthem by Minister and Chaplain, Mrs. Rosemary Allen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. So welcome to a very exciting day. Promotions, new appointments bring organizational growth, which makes our department that much stronger. I'm gonna tell you, I'm very excited about not only the new police officers joining these great ranks, but the leadership is moving forward in this organization. As I always tell the men and women in this organization, I'm not gonna be here forever, the deputy chiefs are not gonna be here forever, growth happens. And when it happens, this new leadership takes on these roles. And it's important that they understand the implications and the tasks ahead of them. And we'll talk about that at the appropriate time. Today, we're not only going to recognize members who are joining our organization, but also the individuals who have significant awards. We have 2 individuals we're going to recognize for life-saving awards towards the end of the program. So this, again, it's going to be an exciting day, and you're going to hear some great work by the men and women of this great organization. Before I move on to the next point, give the Rosemary Allen, the minister and chaplain, a round of applause for that national anthem. I do want to acknowledge some of our elected officials and members of the community who are here with us, starting with our mayor, Dr. Kenson Simon. Please stand and be recognized. We have Council President Ari Mandelbaum. Please stand and be recognized. We have Councilman Daniel Brightwell. Please stand and be recognized. And also the city administrator, my boss, Mr. Fred Zorn. We have our city deputy clerk, Nicole Humphreys. We have our communications director, Meredith Morgan. We have members of the Chiefs Advisory Board, my great advisory board. Where you at? Stand and be recognized. Chief Advisory Board. You know, this is great work. When you talk about new hires, you talk about promotions, all of these things come together with a human resource department. A human resource department that puts time and effort to make sure not only the police department, but every department in the city of Southfield has the staffing that they need. And they do a great job, I gotta tell you, of vetting individuals so that we have the best qualified applicants in our community. So with the human resource staff, please stand and be recognized. And as I look out into the audience, I see our city attorney is joined us. So please stand, Don King. And the deputy city administrator, I'm hearing he's out here. Where's John McRean at? Deputy city administrator. There we go. Thank you, sir. And thank you, man. Y'all know how this goes. You miss one person, is it? You're over. Also, I want to recognize also another community organization that no matter what we do, they're always there. That's the Roadmasters Vet Club. Ron Johnson, thank you. Give Ron a round of applause. So we're going to continue our program moving, and we're going to hear from our great mayor, Dr. Kenson Simon.
Thank you, Pete. Well, good morning. It's a great day in the city of Southfield. As many of you, or some of you know, I've been an educator in the Southfield Public Schools, or was, for 50 years. And one of the fundamental beliefs of mine is lifelong learning. And really, this is what this is about today, this promotion ceremony. We cannot stagnate. We have to benefit from new knowledge, from our experiences, and I love to see personal growth. I think it's tremendously important. So I just want to say very briefly that first and foremost, I'm very proud of our department. The tough work that our officers do every day is greatly appreciated by us all and by the community at large. And also, hearty congratulations to all of you on seeking advancement. And as the chief says, we need to bring younger people up, and I can say that as an older person. We're not going to last forever, so very, very happy that you're working on your own personal growth, personal and professional growth, as well as advancing and bringing new leadership into our department. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. Now we're going to hear from our city administrator, Mr. Fred Zorn. Give him a round of applause.
I too want to congratulate the promotion, the 5 individuals being promoted, as well as our new officers. Welcome to Southfield. I want to congratulate you and your families. This is a major accomplishment, and I'd like you to remember your excitement and enthusiasm today, because what you folks do is tough. I have a brother-in-law who's a police officer. I read the report first thing, usually every morning before I get my own kids up, and just, man, some of the things that happen, quick, 5, 6 things every day, but I just shake my head. But you guys are on the front lines, and I'm grateful for what you do. I want you to know, as a community, we're going to provide you with the things you need to do this job very, very well and the best. I think you're an incredible community in Michigan, in southeastern Michigan. The last 10 years, we've been committed to rebuilding the city's infrastructure. We're a first-ring suburban community. We're 60 years old. And as the mayor said, things don't last forever. They have to be rebuilt. Like you're investing in yourself, we're investing in our infrastructure. We're rebuilding our neighborhoods and our community. But there's no product unless the city's safe. Well, that basic element of public safety, when you look at what people want, they need to feel safe and secure. People who come to this country from other places, it's not only about opportunity, but it's that basic level of security and feeling safe, a place where you can raise a family, go to school, your wife can, or your husband can go to the mall and know they're safe. So what you folks do, we're grateful. I still believe service to each other is very noble, and what you do is noble. The last few years, we've seen a lot of change in this country, in the world. George Floyd was a wake-up call. What we do and how we respond to things. We use our intellect more than our physical. You're a team. Use your team members. You folks need to keep an eye on each other when you're out in these situations. When you look at some of these things, had someone just stepped in, as items might not have escalated in the way that they did. And we all know that adrenaline rush when you're out there, you get going. But sometimes to have each other, so be your brother's, sister's keeper. Look out for one another. As a city administrator, the elected officials, we're committed to making sure you have the resources to do the things you need to do. As you drive around, there's some neat things happening. The southeast corner of the city, we're rebuilding where this city started. We were a farming community in the 50s, grew up very quickly. Northland, new apartments are going up. The mall's going to be redevelopment, things on the west side. Things are happening in the hospital there. Lawrence Tech is doing awesome things. So I think you're an incredible place to start a career. For our folks who are being promoted, we appreciate and we're grateful for your leadership. I too want to thank our HR department. The Act 78 testing process is an intense process. You folks have studied and prepared, and I'm sure you sat at a desk in your home or the dining room table and went through the materials, but you passed that test, and congratulations. The new officers have been vetted, and I know we interview your neighbors, we interview your second grade teacher, all of those, this full evaluation, and you folks have passed the muster, and congratulations to your family. Welcome to Southfield.
And thank you, Mr. Zorn. I'm going to start my remarks off by going over our mission statement. I think it's fitting to start with the mission statement because it reflects all ranks, from our new officers to our new sergeants and our new lieutenants. So let's do our mission statement. We believe in the dignity and worth of all people. We stand for providing fair and equal enforcement of the law for all. We are committed to a professional approach to law enforcement and support of the needs of our community. We shall strive to make our department exceptionally deserving of the trust and confidence of the community through community-oriented policing, continual comprehensive training, and by selection and retention of quality personnel who will best represent police profession. So I want you all to remember that. That's not only for our members, also the families, so you understand what our expectations are for our police officers and our new leadership in this organization, because it's so vitally important. The other part to leadership is, and I always say this, I lead this great organization, but I cannot do it alone. And I got two great deputy chiefs who helped move this department forward. So will Deputy Chief Jeff Jagielski stand and be recognized? Deputy Chief Jagielski oversees patrol. Also, will Deputy Chief Aaron Hughley stand and be recognized? Deputy Chief Hughley oversees investigations. Again, cannot do it alone. It's not a one-man show. It's the deputy chief's leadership and all the way down to our members. To our families, thank you so much for being here. We want to thank you for supporting the men and women in this organization. I know we got a variety of things going on with promotions and new hires, but for the families, please understand this is serious business of being a police officer. You see it on the news transpire where we're not recognized or accepted where we once were. That's a problem. And so we need the support to continue. These officers and these lieutenants and sergeants, they see a lot of different things in the community. Although Southfield, we have a pretty manageable crime picture. You know, we don't have a variety of homicides and shootings. We don't have those issues. But they do exist and they do come through our city from time to time. And so our officers, they witness some things that can be very disturbing. One thing I want the families to understand, we understand the importance of officer wellness. And so understanding that picture, we have our own critical incident response management team here. And what does that mean to all of you? In addition to what Human Resources offers with Employee Assistance Program, we understand that sometimes police officers may want to convey their thoughts and emotions amongst each other. So we were able to identify a police officer that was very highly respected. His name is Matthew Fair, who organizes our CISM teams, what we call it, and it's been very effective already. We had a couple incidents that are very significant and disturbing to our members when they responded to. I won't go into it, it's very disturbing. But we were able to activate our CISM program. We have a professional by the name of Dr. Maurice Gardner. Dr. Gardner is well known. I knew him back in my days when I worked with the Detroit Police Department. That's how I kind of came in contact with him, the work that he was doing to when officers dealt with a critical incident, how he's able to get their confidence back, bring them together. And he's done that on a couple of occasions since our CISM team started. And again, for the families, it's working very well. And again, what I'm proud of with our officers is that they seek help when they need it. You know, and that's very, very important. This profession is a lot of times ego gets involved, and we don't get the mental help that we need. But again, for the families, rest assured, we are making sure we address that issue. And we also need help from the families. Continue to monitor your loved ones. If you see something that's kind of not right, let us know. So maybe we can spring into action and get them the help that they need. Again, this profession is very, very critical. So give yourselves a round of applause for the support you give to our members. To our new officers, and I know I'm saying new, with the exception of one, you've all been here. And what we do, once we get a collection of officers where it's worthy to do a full ceremony, we conduct that ceremony. So a number of them have already been working, and I got to tell you, they've been doing a great job thus far in this short time period. Some come straight out the academy, and some come from other police departments. Well, we're glad to see that individuals recognize the Southfield Police Department is the place to be. But as I address our newer officers, one thing I want you to understand, this job is centered around risk. I'm gonna say it again, this job is around risk and in risk management. Things happen on a daily basis, things happen very quickly. You can recover from a mistake, but you can't lie. Let me say it again, because these things have happened. And there's individuals who were once part of this organization that thought they could lie about an issue. They're no longer here. And so you can recover. You may get a little discipline, then a little training, but you can recover. Again, we understand. Going through the ranks, I've been in law enforcement over 25 years. I've made mistakes, but I stand here as a police chief, learn from the mistakes. So please remember that. The decisions that you make in this profession not only affects our department, but it has national implications across policing. You've seen it. I think Mr. Zorn and the mayor brought up what happened in Minneapolis with George Floyd. National implications in policing. And so recognize that out in the field. One thing is I transition back to the family. One thing that we have in this police department is a great training staff. We train, and then more training. And there is the reason why we don't necessarily have the issues that some other departments have had, because our training is very tense. It's about accountability, and we make sure our officers understand you don't just pass the scenario because you showed up. We put you through some rigors. So our training cadre is here. Give our training cadre a round of applause. I see Jason Snyder, Dan Reston, Matthew Taylor, outstanding training cadre. One thing that came out of the city of Southfield is the duty to intervene. The duty, that started right here. This police chief, this police department, and now this is a national policy. And so it's very important that you all understand that, particularly individuals coming in new. We're gonna have a lot of transition. There's a lot of retirements, a lot of transition in our police department. And this department is gonna get even that much larger because Northland is coming. Well, we gotta staff that. It's gonna be a city within a city. And so one thing you gotta understand is that you don't get to say because this other officer did that and you get a pass. If you witness someone doing something criminal, if you witness excessive force, take action and deal with that situation, again, to save our agency from embarrassment. The use of body cameras is vitally important. The use of body cameras is vitally important. And the reason that's important because we get false allegations coming to this police department all the time. And as anybody knows, and you've seen me deal with issues, I'm not afraid to go in front of the camera and let the community know that when an individual puts a false allegation on this police department, I'm gonna show exactly what happened. And if we're wrong, we'll own it, and I'll tell the community what I'm doing to address it. But I will defend this police department when the false allegations come, and they have come. But one thing that helps me defend you all when the false allegations come in is because you follow our policies and continue to turn those cameras on. Because the camera is going to tell what happened and let the community know that you did everything right. So please be mindful of our policies and our procedures. Race relations is so important as well. It's a very uncomfortable conversation. We don't like to have it, but we have it in the Southfield Police Department because we have those uncomfortable conversations. And that's why it's important we treat everyone, regardless of race, in our profession with dignity, respect, and empathy. That is an expectation, and we really don't have it any other way. But I'm proud to say, because I watch video all the time, the beauty about being in the city of Southfield is that when an incident arises, when information comes in, I get to pull up the video and look for myself and see exactly what transpired. Let me give you an example of a person who called here talking about how bad we were one time. So I got a call to the desk, and I always tell them, put your allegation in writing. So the individual put it in writing. We disrespected them. We used excessive force and some other things that we did. I pulled the video. I watched it. I called the person back. I said, sir, I just reviewed the video. Everything that you claimed in this complaint did not happen. You're free to join me. We can watch this video together. You know what he did? He hung up the phone. Because, again, the video was just that vitally important. So I want you to remember these things. Because as I tell all the members of this organization, whatever happens, I got to explain this stuff. And it's easier to explain when we're doing everything by our policies and our procedures. Remember, this job is not a right. It's not a privilege, it's a right. You earn the right to be a police officer. So don't take that for granted. And finally, for our police officers, continue to, again, get to know our community, treat them with compassion, patience, empathy, because they'll be in their lowest moments. When you arrive on the scene, and you already know this, most of the time, people are in their darkest moments, and we need to show that empathy to move forward. So give our newest police officers a round of applause. To our sergeants, very, very exciting time. I gotta tell you, the position of a sergeant is the most difficult transition in policing because you're now going from working with your peers, and now you have an expectation to lead them, counsel them, discipline them. It's not easy. It's an expectation that we have, but it's not easy. Do you have the courage to fulfill that obligation? I'm confident that you do. I'm very confident that you do. I have an opportunity to watch many of you in that role as police officer figures. I remember when I first got to Southfield, I wasn't even sworn in yet. You remember that night? Yes, sir. I came in, I got the position, wasn't even a member of the department. I did a ride along because I wanted you all to see who I was, and I wanted to see who you were. I remember you looking at me kind of weird. Who is this guy? Why is he here? But and all jokes aside, but I appreciate the night we spent. I was watching you, and I'm not surprised that you ended up being a sergeant. Really not surprised, because one thing I noticed about you out in the field is that you were very tense. And when I say tense, not in a negative way, tense is in making sure that the safety protocols would be in place. I remember we went to the hotel that evening, and a lot of folks coming out, but you were really paying attention to what was going on in the environment. So those are the things that we talk about when you talk about a sergeant going to that position. Being a sergeant requires a lot of mentoring. And as you know, mentoring comes with a price, because everybody's not receptive, particularly someone that you may have just rode with in the scout car together. And now you got to be in charge of their actions. But I'm going to leave you with this. A study was done by a group dealing with police officers who have been convicted of crimes, particularly while on duty. So they interviewed an individual who was conducting burglaries on duty. And they asked him, well, what gave you the confidence to do this on duty, or do it at all as a police officer? You know what he said? He said, when I made the decision, and I'm talking to my sergeants and my lieutenants, when I made the decision to commit these robberies and these burglaries, I looked to see what supervisors were working. Because I knew if, for example, Sergeant Smith was working, he pays attention. But if I knew if Sergeant Jones, for example, was working, he just sat in the office and didn't come out in the field. So that's a powerful statement, which means that the failure in leadership across policing, when you see some of these departments going through these issues, it's the middle ranks, lieutenant and sergeant. Because again, courage. You got to have courage to do this job. And if you have courage, the job will manifest and the department will grow. The leadership will be respected. And understand, you will be respected. Even though people may not like the fact that they're being disciplined or counseled, they're going to respect you by doing it, because it's going to make them that much better. So to my sergeants, please continue to understand what this means. Those chevrons are huge. I remember when I made sergeant and going out in the field, people recognize those chevrons before they recognize lieutenant's bars or sometimes even other advanced ranks. So it's a nationally recognized significant feature that you're wearing on your sleeve. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for taking the time to want to lead this organization, and give our sergeants a round of applause. Our lieutenants. We have 2 lieutenants that we're moving forward. Lieutenant is a huge responsibility. Now you're wearing the gold. Very exciting time. You're moving forward. You've been a police officer. You've been a sergeant. Now you're a lieutenant, now in charge of a shift, in charge of police officers. So we're going to start with Lieutenant Beasy. Certainly I know you're very excited about this. I know how hard you studied. In fact, you came out #1 as the written examination, scored the highest written score. So what that means to me is that you understood that you wanted to be in a leadership position, advanced leadership position, because you were already a sergeant. And you wanted to move that organization forward. And you took the time to study. Also, when I look back at your career, you dedicated time into this police department, a member of the Honor Guard. Also with our hostage negotiation team, a negotiator. So he's investing in our police department, investing in our leadership. So Lieutenant Beasley, thank you for moving up and taking this next step in leadership. Give Lieutenant Beasley a round of applause. So when I got to the city of Southfield, the human resource director explained to me, he says, Chief, don't forget to appoint you a executive lieutenant. My response to him was, well, I just got here, and that's a powerful position, and I'm not just going to hand it to anybody. I'm going to wait until somebody sparks my attention. That happened. Her name is now Executive Lieutenant Teresa Young. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because it's no secret. I've been very excited about this position. You know, again, I've been waiting. I've been here for almost 4.5 years. This position has went unfilled because I was waiting for something different, somebody to just come up and just go to the next level. So let me tell you why I chose Executive Lieutenant Teresa Young for this position. So she came in as a sergeant. She was over our school resource officers, also over policy, and also our community police officers. And as I always do, I just sit back and watch. And so what I noticed about our new executive lieutenant in that sergeant's role, she got involved. So you say, well, Chief, what does that mean? So we do a lot of events. This is a community-oriented police department. And so when we do Halloween, we do Christmas, we do Easter, guess what? She would come to the events dressed up in some fairy tale costume. Snow White, the Easter Bunny, Mrs. Claus, all these different things. And I'm like, wow, I really haven't seen anyone do anything like this, really invest in our community, and not only invest in it, but dress up and partake and engage, take pictures with the children. And you should see how the children were acting. So I had a note, put it in the back of my head. And then she's also over the school resource officers. Without any direction from me, she made appointments, met with the superintendent, met with staff of the schools, popped in on our school resource officers, make sure that where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do. Wow. Another note. She's inspecting what she's expecting. Okay. I continue to watch. She's also in charge of policy. And so we have policy review meetings. She not only got the policies done in a very professional manner, she reached out to other agencies and advanced the policies to make sure we capture everything we need to capture. And what that showed me was she understood the importance of process improvements, building processes. Because guess what? That's what lieutenants are supposed to do, build processes. One thing that they all tell you, I'm not a stagnated police department. We do different things. This department grows. We do different things. And she understood the importance of taking our department to that next level. And so I know sometimes when I get excited about a promotion, I make people uncomfortable. But I'll be very clear. I'm unapologetic about this promotion because she deserves it. She stepped up and stand up and be recognized as an executive lieutenant for the Southfield Police Department. Stand and be recognized. So I want to wrap my remarks up with a quote. I think it's very fitting in this environment. And I just looked out and see, is that our councilwoman, Lenny Taylor? Please stand and be recognized. Thank you, Councilwoman. I told y'all I can't miss nobody. But no, thank you for being here. Thank you. So I'm gonna start off. I'm just gonna give a quote to you all. Maybe I'll do two quotes. The first one: if you must play, decide upon three things at the start: the rules of the game, that's our policies and our procedures; the stakes, that's our risk management; and quitting time, that's our de-escalation and termination of police pursuits. That's come from a Chinese proverb. So just kind of take that in. Policies, de-escalation, termination of pursuits. In times of change, those who are prepared to learn will inherit the land, while those who think they know will find themselves ill-equipped to face a world that no longer exists. Eric Hofer. So with that saying, you got to continue to evolve, or the world is going to change right before your eyes. So please remember that. And now, without further ado, we're going to get to the point what you've all been waiting for, the pinning of our new police officers and our new supervisors. So can I have Nicole Humphreys please come forward, Deputy City Clerk, and also for the families. I think the members have already identified who of you will be coming up to pin the badge. So when the name is called, please make your way up to the front. We'll get some photos and we'll get the pin. So come on up. And we're gonna start with supervision. We're gonna start with supervision. And we're gonna start with our lieutenant's rank. So Executive Lieutenant Teresa Young, please come forward. Family members, please come forward.
Thank you.
Okay. So you just take your photos.
Sometimes they're a little hard to get through the first time.
So, all right. Lieutenant, easy.
Thank you, Chief. Who I have pinning me today, one of my favorite brothers,
All right.
Detective Hussein Beasy, future sergeant and leader of this department. Take one more, I wasn't looking. You're looking at that one.
Sergeant Eggers. He's joined by his wife. Oh.
And everybody, this is Zane. Here I got
Grandma's getting pulled.
It's a new shirt.
Photo? I'll give you that. Sergeant Carew. And before I pass Crew this badge, like I said before, I go out in the field from time to time to let the officers know that, I ain't afraid to get out there and mix it up with y'all from time to time. And Crew also was able to take me out in the field on a ride along. We had a pretty good time that evening.
What, New Year's?
Yeah, New Year's Eve. See, so I wasn't playing around out there New Year's. And so, but we had a really good time. I get to learn a lot about his family, and we really had a good day bonding that day. Give him a round of applause.
Face the camera. This is my wife, Ashlyn.
Oh. Y'all see that? So now we're going to do our new hires. So Officer Goldstein. Family, come on up.
They got a lot of kids.
Oh, take your time. 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 Officer Goldstein joins us. He comes from the city of Detroit. Decided to transition and comes to the city of Southfield. So thank you for that. Officer Pierce. And Officer Pierce also joins us from Detroit, transitions to Southfield, and his dad, a member of the Detroit Police Department, 8th Precinct. Yes, sir. Officer Hannah. And he's joined by his dad. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Might be a defect. Chief. We may have to simulate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may have to. Yeah, that's kind of okay. Jason, look at me. Thanks, Dad, for improvising. Thank you. Officer Raymond. joined by her sister, and Officer Raymond also joins us from the city of Detroit, coming in to transition to Southfield. Officer?
Oh, thank goodness. I'm used to tying little kids' shoes. There's a lot of pressure here.
Thank you. Officer Lane. Coming to us from West Bloomfield. And I did have the opportunity to meet the family at another occasion, but thank you for coming back. He's joined by his wife. We got to do our alls. Oh. Oh, girlfriend. You know, I think I'm messing up today. But he gonna hear about it later on.
Maybe a wedding soon.
And last but not least, Officer, I'm coming back up. Yeah. Last but not least, Officer Doucette. And he's been joined by his wife and child. We need it all. And also, he's also transitioning from West Bloomfield to the city of Southfield. All right, to make this official, can I have all of you stand, all of the, just the new police officers. Please stand. And Nicole is going to administer the oath of office. And then have you sign your document.
Good morning. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly affirm, as new officers for the city of Southfield, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and the City Charter of the City of Southfield, and that you will faithfully perform your duties for the City of Southfield?
I do.
Congratulations.
We'll have a second from sign it. Okay. And so we'll have you, in the interest of time, we'll have you sign in the next room. Okay. So as we conclude our program, again, families, thank you for showing up. I know some of you had work and whatnot, but I knew this was important for you to be here anyway. But give our awardees, our team, a great round of applause. So I'm gonna, as I mentioned earlier, we have two outstanding police officers who we want to recognize for some really great life-saving work. And so I have Deputy Chief Jeff Gelsey come and read the acknowledgments and bring those officers forward. And Deputy Chief Hughley, if you could join us.
Thanks, Chief. As the chief spoke about, even as chiefs and deputy chiefs, don't forget where we came from. And we often show up at runs and go out in the field. And it's not because we're there as bosses, but because we are still police officers and we go to support our officers out in the field and help out where we can. This particular incident is just a snippet of the great work that the men and women of the Southfield Police Department do. And I happened to be on scene shortly right after this incident happened. It was a murder, almost a double murder, but by the grace of God and our two officers we're going to acknowledge today, it did not turn out to be a double murder. I can tell you firsthand, when I showed up on scene, our officers were laser focused on their job, and to the layman walking up, it was chaos, but to the trained eye, it was awesome to watch our guys in action, and you're going to be recognized for that. So officers Barlow and Glendy, please step forward.
And give them a applause. You're heroes.
Good. Officers Barlow and Glendy are being honored with this life-saving award for your efforts in an attempt to save the life of a gunshot victim on May 8, 2023. On the above date, officers were dispatched to the Marriott Hotel on a reported shooting. Upon arrival, 2 people were found in the rear parking lot, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. The female victim showed no signs of life. However, officers engaged in life-saving measures until Southfield Fire and Rescue arrived on the scene. The second victim was conscious, alert, and his wounds were actively bleeding. To stop the bleeding, Specialist Glendy cut clothing off and placed a tourniquet on the victim's leg, while Officer Barlow placed a tourniquet to the victim's arm. Both officers applied and maintained pressure to the wounds until medical personnel arrived. The male was later transported to the hospital, where he was treated for his wounds and ultimately released after a long stay. This was an incident where every second mattered for this victim. Your rapid response, use of training, and compassion ensured that he had a chance at life. In the words of the lead medic who responded to the scene, without the actions of the Southfield police officers that applied medical aid to the victim, I am confident that this victim would not have survived due to massive blood loss. The police officers' training, teamwork, professionalism, and quick actions were able to save the life of this individual on this day. Thank you for your professionalism and commitment to law enforcement in the city of Southfield.
And as we get set up, I do want to really expound on this incident. Again, a very critical incident. As you know, this country, even this city, we're dealing with this issue of domestic violence. And this was a domestic violence incident. But it took the actions, the training, as we talked about, knowing how to apply that tourniquet and wait for advanced treatment to come. Ultimately did save the life of the second individual. Unfortunately, the injuries to the female were too severe. But they stayed focused, and it did save a life. So give them another round of applause. Thanks, sir. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Certainly want to acknowledge who I just noticed out in the crowd too. Our city clerk is here. Give her a round of applause. Allison Bettis. Allison Bettis. And so we have refreshments for all of you. So just over into the next room, there's some cake, some coffee, some water, and whatnot. But again, thank you all for being here. We had a great time, great event, and we appreciate these families. Thank you.